The final battle between Kiara and Chandler Groff was supposed to be the moment Outer Banks finally gave JJ justice. After everything Groff did, after killing his own son and destroying the lives of the Pogues, Kiara was the one who finally came face to face with him. And in the middle of a hurricane, with the Royal Merchant Gold on the line, she made sure he couldn't escape again. But here's the theory. What if Groff's death wasn't the real ending of that story? Or, even more interestingly, what if the final battle was never just about revenge? Because when we look at how Outer Banks ended, there may be a deeper meaning hidden behind Kiara's decision to go after Groff alone. Let's break it down. The final season brings the Pogues back to Kildare just as Hurricane Cassandra approaches. Groff has stolen the Royal Merchant Gold and is preparing to escape, while Kiara is still carrying the anger and grief of losing JJ. When she realizes Groff is trying to leave by yacht, she separates from the others and goes after him herself. Netflix. And that's where everything changes. Kiara doesn't wait for John B. She doesn't wait for Pope. She doesn't wait for the police. She goes after Groff alone. At first, this looks like a straightforward revenge mission. Groff killed JJ, and Kiara wants to make sure he pays for it. But I think there is something much deeper happening here. For the entire final season, Kiara is trapped in her grief. She believes that if she can find the blue crown, maybe she can somehow bring JJ back. The crown ultimately doesn't return him to life, but Kiara's experience with it gives her memories of JJ and helps her finally begin to accept what happened. Netflix. So by the time she finds Groff, Kiara has already changed. She is no longer chasing him because she believes killing him will bring JJ back. She knows it won't. This is about something else. It's about ending the part of her life that Groff created. And that's why I think Groff's final fight is actually Kiara's final transformation. Groff spends the entire story taking things from people. He takes JJ's life. He takes the blue crown. He steals the Royal Merchant Gold. And even in the finale, he is still trying to escape with something that doesn't belong to him. But Kiara finally takes control. During their fight on the yacht, Groff manages to overpower her and threatens her with a knife. He even taunts her, believing that she can't actually kill him. And that's the moment where he completely misunderstands Kiara. She doesn't defeat him because she's stronger than him. She defeats him because she has finally stopped being afraid of what comes next. Kiara gets Groff tangled in the yacht's rigging, sends him into the air, and then cuts him loose. The broken mast pulls him beneath the water, finally ending his reign of destruction. Netflix. But here's where my theory begins. Did Groff's death really give Kiara what she wanted? I don't think so. And I don't think the show wants us to believe that revenge was the answer either. Notice what happens immediately after Groff dies. Kiara doesn't get a victory moment. She doesn't stand over his body. She doesn't celebrate. Instead, the storm gets worse. The yacht is taking on water. The gold becomes a burden. Kiara is forced to throw some of it overboard to survive, and eventually, she ends up in the water herself. That's incredibly important. Throughout Outer Banks, treasure has always represented freedom. But in this final moment, the treasure almost kills Kiara. She has to let it go. And in my opinion, that's the real message of the ending. Kiara has to let go of everything. The gold. Her revenge. And most importantly, her belief that she can somehow undo JJ's death. That means Groff's death isn't really the victory. Kiara surviving is. And that brings us to the biggest theory. What if the hurricane itself was designed to represent the final test of being a Pogue? Throughout the series, the Pogues have survived impossible situations. Storms, shipwrecks, treasure hunters, criminals, and betrayals. But in the final battle, everything comes together. The villain has the treasure. Kiara is fighting for the person she lost. The storm is destroying the island. And the entire group is separated. It's almost like Outer Banks is forcing every character to face one final question. What are you willing to let go of in order to survive? Kiara lets go of the gold. She lets go of her obsession with bringing JJ back. And eventually, she lets go of Groff. Not just physically, emotionally. That's why I think Groff's death closes the revenge story, but Kiara's survival closes her entire character arc. After the storm, the Pogues use Kiara's coordinates and Pope's calculations to locate the sunken royal merchant gold, finally recovering the treasure that started their adventure years earlier. Netflix. But by then, the gold isn't the most important thing. They've already survived. They've already found each other. And for Kiara, she's finally able to move forward. So, here's my final theory. Groff didn't just die in the storm. He represented the last part of Kiara's past that she needed to escape. JJ's death broke her. The blue crown helped her understand that she couldn't bring him back. And killing Groff gave her justice. But the storm gave her something even more important. A second chance to live. Because in the end, Kiara doesn't win by getting everything she wanted. She wins by realizing that some things can never be recovered. And sometimes, letting go is the only way to move forward. Maybe that's the real ending of Outer Banks. Not the gold. Not the treasure. Not even Groff's death. It's the moment the Pogues finally stop chasing what they've lost and start living for what they still have.